Hello my loyal companions and welcome back to the channel. Yesterday we got our first look into the content coming for Season 4, and in this video I want to go over the balancing changes to the weapons, the rogues and the gadgets so you know what the meta is going to be like going into Season 4 of Rogue Company. And as always, if you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. For now though, let's get into it. So I definitely want to start with the weapon balancing, as I feel like weapon toning is one of the most important parts of any balancing patch that comes to a game like Rogue Company. And specifically, we're going to start off with the shotgun. Now, the shotgun's got a big overhaul in basically the way they work completely. Whilst they have all been tweaked individually, there is an overarching thing happen to all of them. I do want to explain really quickly so you guys understand. Shotguns at the moment in Rogue Company all have 8 pellets. So when you shoot it, you can hit between 1 and 8 pellets, all of which dealing the same amount of damage per pellet. Taking the striker, for example, each pellet does 8, so if you hit all of them, you'll do 64 damage with the striker. That is now changing to what we call non-linear damage. So instead of one pellet doing a certain amount of damage, now what they're doing is if you hit only one pellet, it's going to do a decent chunk of that damage, that total damage, but then subsequent pellets hit after that are going to do less impactful damage. And you can see this going through on screen. You have the first set here, which are just the normal, what we're used to, each pellet dealing 8 damage. But now what you see with the new system is instead of hitting one pellet for 8, you're hitting one pellet for 21, and instead of the second pellet dealing another 21, it's dealing slightly less damage. So you're still going to get the total damage, but doing a few initial bullets won't be as detrimental to you. So what does this really mean? Essentially what it means is it'll be easier to deal damage more consistently with shotguns. And that may sound like a terrible thing, especially if you've been playing Rogue Company recently. You'll know that shotguns are stupid strong. So they are tackling that by bringing down all the damage numbers of the total damage of shotguns, so they're less impactful. Individually, the shotguns are getting changed as well, though, the Arbitrator being the only one to get a buff, which is getting a fire rate buff for its base and upgraded value, is getting its hip fire reduced, so it's a little bit less accurate hip fire, but its range and its range fall-off damage are both being increased, so it's a little bit better at range now. The SKL-6 is getting a straight range nerf by 1 meter, and is also having its headshot damage reduced from 125 to 110, and its body shot damage reduced from 88 to 75. The S12 Tactical getting a very similar change as well, its headshot damage going from 96 to 75, and its body shot from 70 to 60. The Striker, again, very similar change, is getting its headshot damage reduced from 80/88 when you upgrade it, to 64 and then 72 when you upgrade it. Its body shot is also going from 72 and 80 to 52 and 60. So overall for shotguns, what does that mean? Essentially, your skill floor, so how easy it is to use a shotgun, is getting decreased. So it's easier to use shotguns, but the maximum amount of damage you're going to do is way less, meaning they're going to be less impactful. And honestly, I think this is a good change. I think this is going to help people feel more consistent with shotguns, but also stop shotguns feeling stupid strong and outbeating DMRs and SMGs at range, which it really shouldn't do. So I do think this is a good change to shotguns. We'll test it out on PTS today and see how it is. Maybe it needs a bit more tuning, but this is a good step at an overhaul towards shotguns to make them feel a little bit better within Rogue Company. The LR15 full body is getting its sniper change it recently had, where it shrunk the FOV of the sniper, reverted to the original sniper scope, but they are looking to add a toggle feature in the future, which lets you choose between which one you would personally prefer to use. So until that feature is there, we're getting reverted, but this should come back if you did enjoy it. Now, we all know that ARs and SMGs have a massive impact even at considerable ranges within Rogue Company, and they are now looking to tone that down and allow DMRs to take that kind of long-range stance that they really should have. There's a blanket nerf now to ARs and SMGs, with assault rifles having a range reduction of 2 meters, which is 10%, and a max damage fall-off range reduced by 2 meters as well. SMGs are getting the same sort of nerf, but instead of it being 2 meters, it is going to be 1 meter to both their range reduction and their damage fall-off range reduction. And specifically within the AR changes, the K30 is getting an additional nerf, which is going to reduce its headshot damage from 31 to 29 to kind of impact some of the sort of longer range damage it's able to do. However, based on those damage numbers, it's still probably going to do considerable changes to the time to kill up close, and might actually change how strong this weapon really is. We'll have to see on PTS, but the K30 is getting that headshot nerf. Now, with ARs and SMGs nerf, DMRs kind of have a reason to shine, and they have an even bigger reason to shine with some of the massive buffs that they're getting in this next patch. Talking first about the MXR, one of the strongest weapons originally at the start of the game, did kind of go through this phase of being king to being a bit of a joke. And now they're looking to ramp that back up, and honestly, the MXR feels like it's going to be pretty good. It already has a really good time to kill with that one headshot being weaved in, and they're not changing the damage or fire rate of it, but what they are going to do is reduce the bloom at basically every stage of this gun, on first shot, on multiple shots, just so it is a little bit tighter of a spread when you're trying to spam this for a kill, and I think this is going to really make this weapon meta once again. The Devotion is also going to change to its fire rate to make it a little bit better, because it is one of the hardest hitting weapons to try and pull off. Its current fire rate has a base fire rate and an upgraded fire rate during one of its upgrades, and now what they're doing is they are increasing the base fire rate to the upgraded fire rate we see now, and then they're changing the upgraded fire rate to something even faster that we haven't really seen before. So the Devotion is going to slap pretty hard. I think it's probably going to be a bit overtuned maybe, but we'll have to see that again on PTS. Pistols are actually getting a minor change as well, just to some of their upgrades. The Executioner's first upgrade will remove the penalty after sprinting, so you can ready that weapon up a little bit faster. Both the P12K and the Spitfire's first upgrade will increase their range ever so slightly. The Warrant is getting a buff at its second upgrade, so that it will, again, move a little bit faster and will have a little bit of a better range. And that is going to be the proposed changes for the pistols. The last change is going to be to the MX More, which is getting a damage range fall-off increase, so it does a little bit better at some of the longer ranges, being one less bullet to kill than it is currently. Just a little bit of a buff to that LMG. That covers us for the weapon changes, but now I'm going to quickly go over gadget changes so you know what is going to happen with the explosives and utility within Rogue Company next season. So util company is definitely a thing, utility being so important and so prevalent currently within the game. And the changes they're proposing, I think, are trying to separate the importance of utility, what each piece of utility does. And in some of these areas, I think they've hit the mark. In some of them, I think they've missed it. But again, we'll test it out. This is my initial thoughts, though. The C4 is getting upgraded so that its final upgrade, the second upgrade, will do 175 damage, meaning it will kill through tenacity. Given the way the C4 works with its close range, heavy sort of landing, and now detonation feature, I actually think this is an okay thing. I think having one piece of utility that can consistently kill through tenacity, other than an upgraded Semtex or like a bounce nade from Seeker, is actually kind of important. So I don't hate this change, even though I think a few people are a bit up in arms about it. The grenade is getting a distinction from the bounce nade by its final upgrade, increasing the radius and increasing the outer damage numbers of it as well. So it just does a little bit more damage at the outer spread of its blast radius, but its overall blast radius will get increased with that final upgrade as well. It will not one-shot through tenacity, it will just be a little bit more impactful at dealing good damage for you to push on. Now, there is a change to Semtex, which is actually the one I do not like. I think that this piece of utility is a bit too strong right now, being just so good at blowing people up at quick speeds without really much reaction time being available to you. And what they're doing to make it even worse, in my opinion, is that the final upgrade, they are increasing the damage from 100 to 125 on a base splash damage off the ground, meaning it's going to kill through armor as well. And I just don't think it needs that kind of strength. I think it is too similar and too much better than these other grenades. I think it should do far less damage off a non-stick and more consistent damage off a stick personally, but that's the proposed change. We'll see if it changes in the future, and we'll see how it plays on PTS. And then the final piece of utility and equipment getting changed is the APS, and again, at their final upgrade, you are going to be able to destroy 2 pieces of utility per APS. And what this means is that instead of just one grenade being destroyed by an APS, when you have the final upgrade for the APS, it will be able to take off 2. I do not know whether there is a visual distinction, so you know whether it has 1 or 2 charges left in it. I did sort of mention it, but I don't think anything's currently been worked on. We may see it in the future, but just know that on the final upgrade, you will be able to take 2 pieces of utility from an APS. And then the last things that we're going to talk about are the rogue balancing. There's not a lot, but there are a few little things. And the first thing to every rogue is the base health regen of them is going up by 2 seconds. So the moment when you take damage, it takes 5 seconds for you to start healing. It's now going to change to 7 seconds. People have been a little bit vocal about not liking this off rip, and I'm going to say let's test it out. Essentially what they're doing is they're trying to make it a bit more impactful, so that if you make a good trade, you have more time to push on that kill than you do currently, because especially with things like bounce back, people get their health back so quickly and trades don't really matter, especially with some of these DMR changes. I think they're trying to accelerate the longer range poke and push play style of Rogue Company a little bit more. We'll see how it plays out. It may get reverted, it may not, but we are going to test it out and see how it goes. And personally, I think it could be a good thing. We'll just have to find out. Then to Rogue specifically, Saint is getting a change from having Helping Hands as his revive perk to now getting Lifeline, which is a much more expensive perk, but will shorten the duration of his revive. That means Tracker Rounds is being replaced by Lifeline, and Helping Hands is being replaced by Stalker, which gives him a bit more kill pressure. And then the only other rogue getting a change, but it is a big change, is Talon, who I recently said in my tier list isn't really that good because he doesn't have a hard reveal. He has a soft reveal on the minimap. Well, they're changing it. Now, the Talon dart not only will reveal on the minimap, but it will also highlight people as like a normal Daedalus reveal when they're in the area of that dart. So you'll be able to see them physically move on the map when they're in the radar dart. They are shrinking the range of the radar dart. They didn't say to what. I'm imagining it'll go from its 23 meters back down to 20, which it originally started at. But they will be revealed when in that location now, which is a massive change. Definitely changes the way Talon is going to be played. And honestly, may make him very strong, especially with a DMR now, which are getting a buff anyway. That is going to be it for the changes to Rogue Company in Season 4, at least what is proposed for the PTS dropping today. If you want to come and see some of these changes, I will be playing them on the test server live, basically as of you watching this video. So go head over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RADTHARGAMING, to see some of these changes in action. That will take us to the end of the video though, guys. And if you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and check out all my other socials, platforms, and other channels down in the description below. For now though, guys, I do hope you have a fantastic day. And as always, remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless. And I'll catch you in the next video.